to go and ruin my truck. I could find a way to deal with your leaving if I didn't see an empty passenger seat and a lipstick stain on that window pane that I can't wipe away. Yeah, every mile, every road, every song on the radio is a memory of you that ain't drowning out. I keep spinning my tires trying to figure out, well, how to let a little thing like you hang around and mess me up, as if wrecking my heart for you just wasn't enough. Yeah, you had to go and ruin my truck.
Was supposed to be a banner year, a year now defined by a global pandemic.
The NBA is suspending the season.
MLB spring training, NHL regular season, March Madness canceled.
It will forever be known as the day sports shut down.
While sports across the globe go dark, Dana White says the show will go on for UFC.
Why is Dana White comfortable continuing?
Dana White is somebody with a flawed intelligence. He ought to be ashamed of himself.
More doubts this should even be attempted.
There's still a medical danger here.
Really negligent decision making to make a buck.
There was an article in the New York Times today that was very critical.
I don't give a fuck.
It seems dangerous and it seems foolish.
There's no way to make a sporting event safe.
There's no way to 100% guarantee the safety of everybody.
We don't dictate the timeline. The virus is the one in charge here.
This isn't something that should be happening.
So many risks involved in this. There's no way they come out of this completely unscathed.
This whole damn idea is reckless.
Dana White's legacy? Pay me, even if I put you in serious and potentially fatal harm.
Lining your pockets with money is more important than the safety of the production staff and the people you have fighting for you.
You can't make it totally safe, and it's all fun and games until someone gets this thing.
You're not listening. It is purely greed.
This is totally negative for mixed martial arts in the UFC, and I'm not sure it's one that they'll get over for a while.
Dana's way off here, way wrong.
The virus forced businesses across the country to close their doors.
The global fear of COVID-19 as cases around the world continue to grow.
I'm not afraid of the media. Why should anyone listen to the media? Who are these people? What makes them experts? What have they ever accomplished? They criticize me for even trying to find a way forward because it's easy to criticize from the sidelines when you risk nothing and do nothing. But we need to fight this thing. Instead of panicking, let's find solutions.
Is it feasible that UFC could go off in a month?
I don't see how.
3 fight cards have been announced in Jacksonville.
On our way to Jacksonville, baby.
If the UFC or any of these organizations want to go to Florida, that's a recipe for disaster.
I've also secured an island. We're going to do all of our international fights on this island.
Dana White devised an insane workaround. The UFC is apparently building a facility on a private island that they're calling Fight Island.
It's such a stupid idea. I don't really have any trust in them making it something that's marketable or cool.
How's it going, everybody?
Finish him. You can do it. Fatality.
Well, folks, looks like WWE blocked my video, so you won't be able to comment. You'll still be able to watch it, though. From the Man Cave Studios in South Parkersburg, West Virginia, this is Robert's Report, your leader in combat sports and rock music. And now, your host of Robert's Report, Craig Vegas Roberts. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Roberts Report. I'm your host, Craig Roberts. Everybody's having a fantastic evening. Since usually people are joined in the beginning part, more so toward the beginning, this is probably something that would be good for the toward the end. But I do just have kind of a little message here for the folks out there in Roberts Report land. 2020 has been a trying year for everybody on so many different levels. Businesses have had to shut down. We've lost family members. We've lost friends. But only that, we've lost many iconic people. Frankie Benali, of course. We lost Eddie Van Halen, and several other ones too. I can't name them. I don't want to try to name them all because I can't. I looked up the list, and it's enormous. So who knows how 2020 will be etched into history, but one thing is for sure, things were different. So what I want to do is I want to send my highest heartfelt thoughts and prayers to any families that were affected by the virus, either by health or loss of work. But there are good parts of this. Part of the good part is we spent more time with loved ones that are closest to us within our houses. Sometimes I think people get lost and go into their own world, their own land, their own games or whatever. And I think this kind of brought people more together. Lost the business. A lot of the businesses that they had to change strategies. They had to come up with more innovative ways. I just showed the video there on the UFC. Even they had to make changes in order to so he could make money to keep his team together. And other businesses have had to do the same thing. But as always, we'll come out of this stronger than we were when we went in. Just like any challenge, the United States comes out on top at the end. So I feel confident that 2021 and hereafter, we've got enough learning from what come through this that hopefully we'll be able to apply that to the future. And I guess my final message is this: do not look at failures as the end. Look at it as an opportunity to learn. We only live once. Nobody knows how long you're going to live. Only the man upstairs knows how long we're going to live. Grudges you have had need to be erased. No, you do not have to completely heal from grudges, but ask yourself, how much is it worth to take that to the grave? Give often, even if it's just a phone call, even if it's a word, a hug, encouragement, monetary. Pick a goal and go after it. We're going to be talking to a guy here just shortly that did just that. You pick a goal, you go after, and don't stop till you reach it. Once you do reach it, make another one. But let's make 2021 the best year ever, and from here on after, let's make it big. So. A quick thank you to Code Red Riot and Shallow Side for providing the music for the past 3 years that we've been on the air. Appreciate that. Ronin Jiu-Jitsu, my gym, they've been supportive of program as well. One schedule change I need to mention, Richie Green, which was scheduled for February 7th, is going to be going to the 21st because I found out that, I didn't find out, but I just realized that was Super Bowl Sunday. So, and I figure people be listening to me, they'd be watching football, so, and I don't blame them. I won't be watching me either. So, one last thing, PJ Farley. I've got him down for January 31st. Those of you who do not know who PJ Farley is, he's the bassist for Trickster, bassist for Quarantine, and a bassist for the band Raw. He's going to be on the program on January 31st. I was able to confirm that. So that's good. And Let's see. I've got some UFC things here. I think I'm going to just kind of, since we had such a downtime there, I think I'm just going to go ahead and skip over that. You all know what's coming up. We've got some pretty big things. A triple header coming up on the UFC. Holloway, Catter, Edwards, Chimaev, Poirier, McGregor 2. That's coming up. One thing to note on the Poirier-McGregor fight that I found out this past week is that possibly could be a title fight, depending on what Khabib Nurmagomedov does. If he decides he's going to stay retired and not come back, this is going to be a title fight. If he says he's going to come back, it'll still be an interim fight, and he'll probably get the winner of this fight. So that's kind of where it sits. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. And that is pretty much it for pre-show stuff. So without further ado here, I want to welcome West Virginia's own national recording artist, Mr. Todd Cameron. How you doing, Todd?
What's up, buddy?
It's good to see you. Good having you. It's been a long time. You've put many more miles on the family truckster or whatever you have that you drive around since the poorhouse days. For those that are in the Mid-Ohio Valley here, if you don't remember, his first band, I don't know if it was your first band, his first band I knew that you were in, Gage, which was out of the Charleston area, and you all played a ton of shows down in, all over the tri-state, really, right? I mean,
yeah, it was a lot. We were burning up West Virginia and just kind of tipping a little bit into Kentucky and into Virginia a little bit too. We hadn't quite made it up to Ohio. I remember there was a couple issues getting up there, but we were just following suit. I think trying to figure out where the Davidson brothers were playing. That's where we were trying to go. So anywhere that would allow some country and a little bit of rock, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now you did the Schmidt Saloon once too, didn't you? If I remember right.
Yeah, we did. We actually played there twice. It was a really cool venue, man. It just, I don't know, enough about Morgantown other than like the times I've been up there. I mean, I felt like it was kind of like out a little further than the other venues, and the times that we went up there, I think there may have been some other events and stuff going on. I'm not real sure, but it was kind of it was a little bit tougher for us, a little tougher crowd at that venue.
Yeah, it was. It was a college town, and I mean, Charleston's a college town too, but not quite as embedded as WVU or even if if you was in the Marshall area there, it would have been tough during certain times. So, but anyway, I guess my point here is you've got some pretty deep roots in the West Virginia area.
Absolutely.
Here. So, what year? Let's see. Actually, I'm looking at the Brian Davis poster here right now with your all's picture on it. I'd had him sign it that night and kept the poster, and it's up on my wall here. But
that's funny, man. My brother plays poker with him.
Oh, really?
So, I think once or twice a month they have like this, just a guy's night in the basement of one of either him or his best friend's house. I can't remember. And so I like all their kids go to school together, so they all got to be friends. And so he was telling me, he's like, I play poker with the guy that's a big songwriter in town, and he's like, you might know his name's Brian Davis. I said, yeah. I said, I opened up for him at the poorhouse, West Virginia. I was like, I know exactly who he is. And so I haven't met him yet, but I'm supposed to go over for poker night at some point and meet him officially. So.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. So maybe, I guess you don't know now, but maybe you'll be able to find out then what the heck he's been up to, because I haven't heard anything from him since shortly after the poorhouse. Honestly.
Since that show.
Yeah, I mean he tagged along with what's the one? What's his
Brantley Gilbert.
Yeah, he tagged along with Brantley Gilbert there for the longest time. and it just kind of died after that. So, but
yeah, I think he took more of a writing stance versus trying to go out and tour. I know he was still doing some opening stuff for him for a little bit, and then I think that's kind of the direction he went, was more of a writer, as a lot of guys do in town. That's kind of like, that's a familiar path.
I can kind of appreciate that. I mean, he's a very soft voice. One thing I remember, and I mean, it's been a little while back, but the one thing I do remember was I had to turn his power levels up on my board.
Everything.
Yeah, it just was, his voice was so soft, and a studio is different. You've got,
absolutely.
You can do all kinds of stuff in there, but when you're going live, man, it's tough if you get a person that doesn't project their voice, and so. Oh
yeah, 100%. I get that.
So, what year was it that you decided, okay, Gage is doing well, and now did you take the Gage name? You took the Gage name with you to Nashville for a little while, didn't you?
Sure.
So, what made you change the name?
So when we moved to Nashville, we were all 4 West Virginia guys, and we'd all started that band together in Huntington, and that we kind of did like a few little places up in Huntington that we would play at, and then we pretty much set up camp in Charleston. Grumpy's Waterfront Grill was like that was home for us, and just kind of kept leading to more and more shows, obviously around the tri-state and more around West Virginia than anything. Yeah. So when we up and left in 2012, there's a couple of things that happened actually, and I can talk about it now, I guess. But so when we moved to Nashville, we were there probably not even a couple months, and we had a manager that like approached us and was like, hey, we want to see if we can do something to kind of help you guys out, whatever. And so like everybody's always got a bunch of talk. Somebody knows somebody knows somebody knows somebody. So what that led to was us doing a showcase way too early. We were not ready at all. And so long story short, they ended up, we did the showcase at this bar and grill down there, and there's a couple of agencies that came out and watched us. And I can tell you this much, this is the benefit of being in a band versus being a solo act. Like, first impressions are everything. You've always heard it. And so if you ruin things as a band, well, go change clothes and change your band name and come back and you're brand new. If you ruin things as Todd Cameron, well, I'm still Todd Cameron unless I go pull a Garth Brooks somewhere, and try to be somebody
Chris
else,
Gaines.
But Chris Gaines, Chris Gaines days. So, long story short, we were this manager, and that kind of happened. We played the showcase, and we weren't ready, man. I remember walking up and down Broadway, and we were just watching all these guys, and we were just like, oh my God, like we're never going to be this good. And in West Virginia, you think you're great, man. You throw in some alcohol and some good times, and the owners are just getting as lit as everybody else out in the crowd. Nobody pays attention to your little one-offs being off, or if you're off pitch or whatever it is. Like, and then you get down to Nashville and it's like, oh, you're under the microscope like all the time down there, or so it feels. That's the vibe we thought. And we used to think, hey, there's obviously industry people out here watching us and stuff. And of course, the one we showcased, there really was. And we hadn't quite learned how to put on a show. So about a year and a half in Nashville, we were just playing and we kept coming back and playing West Virginia, because trying to play places that were in Nashville or a little bit outside, like you couldn't get that same amount of money what we really needed to be able to keep going. And at some point it's like, hey, we can't do this porch gig thing for free anymore, playing for some steaks and hot dogs. Like, we got to make a little bit of money to pay for our recordings and keep reinvesting in ourselves. And so after that showcase, we kind of realized it was like we weren't ready. We were nervous to get out, and like any other group would be, and we were just green, man. And as crazy as it is, 2 of the guys ended up like kind of fading out. One of them just kind of kept saying, man, I can't make this gig, can't make this gig. And we were like, well, hey man, we're actually starting to get a few more shows now. Like, we need somebody to fill in on bass. And so we ended up grabbing a guy that we had played a couple shows with his band, and they just disbanded. So great bass player, and he actually kind of made us better musicians. Like, I mean, he totally just like really kind of encouraged us to do things, because this guy had been playing bass for like 25 years, and he was just dead on, man. He started as like a kid, and really kind of helped us with our show. And then our drummer, like, he ended up, he got a girlfriend, and then that turned into more. And he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go back to West Virginia and get married." And so it was like, okay, so he ends up leaving, so we had to get somebody else. So when all that happened, it was like, okay, well, we no longer have the authenticity of all 4 members who started this band. So we've got to do something different. And it actually kind of worked out about the same time. Like, we knew we couldn't keep going on this gauge. So, and that was more of our rock aim. Anyway, we were kind of a rock group that transitioned in the country, but still kept a little bit of rock in our show. And then by that point, we were pretty much full on. 95% of our set was country, and it was like, okay, like we need to change something. We're still gonna have like a little bit of rock elements in our originals, but we need to do something here. So it's just Pat and I were like, it's time to rebrand. So we rebranded as the Dares Run, which is a road in my hometown that I spent a lot of time on. Me and a bunch of high school buddies, college buddies. A lot of song ideas came off of that road. We threw out a bunch of other names, and none of them stuck. And I was like, this is cool, man. This is the only one. It's a cool story. This is where a lot of the song ideas that we have written like have come from stories, memories, and all this stuff. And I was like, we should totally go with this. So we did. We went with the Dares Run. At first it didn't go over so well, and then like the more it just kind of kept growing. Everybody's like, yeah, when I type you guys in on Google, you're the only thing that comes up. I'm like, that's what we want. Like, we want to be the only ones here. And,
yeah, and then, that was one thing I noticed whenever I was trying to Google. When I was trying to Google Gage, actually, I was trying to find out a little more information, on Gage before this whole thing started. And you type Gage in, and my God, the Gage name is just all over the place, and it's not you.
No, and it's not me at all. No.
So that was a good move.
Those days are gone. Yeah,
I was able to.
It was interesting. So
I was able to come up with the one video that you all recorded with Gage by Gage. I apologize, I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was the only one. That
Probably don't mind if I do.
That's it. And it was on. It was the only one that came up on YouTube, besides the poorhouse. Every rose has its thorn.
Every rose, yeah. Man, we never even released that video. It got put up on YouTube. It was so weird because that was right about the time that we transitioned. We were losing a couple of the band members, and we were having to legit like change the name like pretty soon thereafter. And it took us a minute. People didn't quite understand at first, because obviously everybody who knew us in West Virginia were like, well, wait, what happened to Gage? And it was just like, well, like, sorry, we got to do this. But it actually was working out better for us because then, we proceeded to just play shows all over the U.S., man. Like, it just, like, kind of took off from there. We got a couple opening acts, and some people took some videos of us. We had a new logo, everything. It just turned out really cool. And from there, we kind of flew under the radar for the next couple of years. We didn't even play Nashville at all, like, not even once. And it was super cool because when we finally made our way back in like 2017, they were like, from like 2014, I don't know, when, I can't remember when it was, maybe like 2015 into that, 2016, something like that, and into almost 2018, like we didn't do nothing in Nashville. And then we started playing like Wild Horse. And then that bled over to a couple other venues where we're like, hey, like, we heard about you guys. We want to give you a shot. And so we finally did. We didn't consider Wild Horse Broadway because it was just more of that's like the premier dinner, sit down, put on a show, and like people get that kind of vibe from it versus, Broadway, crazy 4 hours of just music of every genre.
Yeah,
now,
you recall a Johnny T that
it bled.
You recall a Johnny T that played there?
I do remember him. He was there. Johnny was there whenever I was in 2012. I remember him, and I want to say like he had a couple songs that were like either Facebook viral or something. I don't know. And I don't need to bring that name up. I have not heard anything from him in a long time.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that they were whenever I was booking bands. They were trying to get me to book at the Poorhouse, so that's what. They wanted they wanted way too much money for him, bands that
he was on XM radio. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was XM. I'm pretty sure it was the Highway. Yeah. So that's too funny, man. Yeah, and God, I haven't heard that name in forever. It's funny you said that. I forgot all about that guy.
So is I guess that kind of goes into, so is Adair Run still established then? Are you still together then? Or is this kind of a hiatus, or what's the deal?
I guess this will be the break, the opener. I really haven't said anything about it, and I mean, wasn't planning on it. Obviously, we just pretty much went our own ways, man. Like, we had done that for a long time. There was a series of unfortunate events that kind of kicked off, and man, we kept trying, and it's like we even rebranded as a duo versus a full band, because that's just kind of how it is with the labels. Like, they just want like as few amount of people tied as possible. It's why it's so many solo acts versus bands in the industry. And man, we had like a really awesome thing that was kicking off. Probably, I think this was probably 6 months before Corona hit, and we were working with like this attorney, and it was probably, it should have been and was supposed to be like life-changing for us. And man, it's just, everybody's such a flake in town. I hate to say it, man, but more of the industry executives, I call them the artist prevention team in Nashville. I'm not afraid to say that. I just don't care. Like, I just say how it is. Like, there's more people that prevent careers from ever taking off, and that's why you're just better off just doing your own thing. And we took a lot of heat. We obviously, ever since we did the TV show Real Country, like that was tough on us. Shania Twain were not the nicest folks to us, and it's fine. They want to be Simon Cowell and get their power trip, and let them do it. But for us, it was like, man, we just want to get exposure and get our music out there. It's all it's ever been about for us, man. It's never been about the money. Trust me, if it was, we'd have quit a long time ago. Man, outside of that, we just had like just one thing after another just kept falling apart. We were lucky. We got a number one. It was fan voted on CMT. Right. Really cool video, but man, we were completely self-funded, and it's just like, man, it's kind of like pouring money into something that's just not ever gonna run or anything. It's just, at some point you had to realize, it's like, gosh, it didn't matter what we do, what we change. Like, they're always going to find something wrong with this, the industry or whatever, and that's unfortunately kind of what happened. And so, being years on the road together too, man, you just, at some point you just want to change. And as I tell people, dreams got to grow up too. I'm a matter of fact guy, so I don't, everything I say is exactly what happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, so, and it's I always say, a band is like a marriage. I mean, once the marriage starts kind of fading away, then you lose some of the magic. I mean, there's
you do, man, you do.
And kind of back to the name changing thing. That's actually the same exact thing that I'm sure you've heard of Bobaflex. That's what they did whenever.
Yeah, I remember them.
Whenever Sean McCoy left them. And actually one of the other members too, Marty and their drummer, they went off, and they've now they're the Lonely Ones. So if you're interested in their kind of music, it's not Bobaflex anymore. It's the Lonely Ones, and it is a different sound to it. But anyway, that's just
sure.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that though, because that's the same exact thing that they did.
Yeah, man. It's sometimes, man, it's for the best too. I mean, like, you got to, like, no member in any group should ever feel like, hey, like, my portion of my being an artist is like not shining through, or like I'm not giving my best, or and sometimes it's because of something that another member's doing, and sometimes it's just not. I mean, it's just like you both feel limited. And I know Pat and I at different times we probably felt that way. Both of us did. In what we were doing, and man, it's a marriage. There's a lot of work to it. I mean, like I said, Pat, man, he's probably one of the best guitar players you'll ever find in town. I mean, he's just the guy can just pick anything up by ear and jam to it, and harmony guy, he's a good harmony guy, and like, man, he can put on a show in front of people, and like, man, I give him all the credit in the world for that. And
are you all still friends, or Are y'all still friends, or
We,
did it kind of hurt things there as well?
Man, I'll put it to you like this, dude. Like I respect the heck out of him, and I give him all the credit in the world for what he's doing. And for me, man, I just kind of I hit a wall. I think we both did, and it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, we both respect what we're doing, and just man, sometimes it's best to just kind of just take a break, and that's just where it's at. So
Now is Pat,
that's the best way I'm going to put it.
Is Pat not to out promote his. Not out to promote his brand or whatever, but is he going off and doing his?
Dude, it's all good, man.
Is he off?
Yeah, I think he's in a group called. He's doing some stuff. I think it's called Miller Holler is what it is.
Okay.
He's got. I think they've got a song up too. Like, so I've had some friends that told me about it, and so we write with we've written with some of the same people, so. Our writing groups really haven't changed, as far as that goes. I know Pat likes to write a lot of stuff on his own, or at least he did whenever, we were doing a Dares run, but we actually haven't played a show together since February, and man, Corona just took it. It was just a great time to just, man, redefine who I was myself. Like, I hit a wall, man. We never took more than 2 weekends off in 10 years, and like, people don't really understand how much when you're working full-time jobs, and then traveling every weekend, like those shows, even, we got spoiled real quick when we started playing as much as we were in town at like Old Red and Wild Horse. It was like, you know what, like these are great, easy shows, and like it's nice to go home and sleep in your bed. But even after a while, it was like, man, do we really have to play tonight? And it's like anything, man. It looks like it's living the dream, but everything comes with I get tired of it factor, as I say. So.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, living on a bus. I mean, you're basically, they call it it's a, this luxury tour bus or whatever, but it's basically living in a fancy RV, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean,
that would have been nice for us. We were in a van the whole time.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine even in one of the fancy buses though, just living in that with the same 4, 5, 6 guys for, month and a half at a time.
Months.
At some point, I'm going to be ready to punch one of them. You just get in each other's.
You do, man. It sucks, man, and you get to the point where you learn too much about each other, and it's like it kind of takes out and then everybody's got in the relationships, the families coming here and there and stuff. It's just like, man. Like, it was nice to play a show that, somebody's aunt and uncle wasn't coming to it all the time or whatever. Just like, special requests for stuff. It was nice to just play like a private event that nobody was allowed in, nobody's girlfriends were allowed to come to and stuff that like we could actually focus on the show. Like, that was some things that I know for me it was like, oh my, like all the time. I get tickets up front, or whatever, and so but again, we were self-managed, man. I think I'm really proud of what we did. I mean, like we went a whole lot farther than anybody ever thought we would, and but like I said, dreams got to grow up too, man. At some point, you got to just realize it's like it didn't matter what we were going to change or what we were going to do. Like duos and bands were not ever really, they're not in Nashville as much as you think, oh wait, think about this or this or this. Like, yeah, but those guys and gals had already been established for several years, and it's like there's not a whole lot of money that they got to put behind them, or one of them went viral. I mean, it's just how it goes, man. It's so unfortunate. There's so much good talent on Broadway right now that you can probably never hear unless you just happen to go downtown and just look them up on Spotify yourself. Like, amazing musicians down there.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, well, that's the the music capital of the world. Not only just for country music, but there's a lot of rock groups that are founded in that area too. So,
absolutely.
So, songwriting. You kind of mentioned there about writing with other people. The songs that I guess now that you're going solo, are you writing with people, or are these your songs? Are they and before you answer that, are they connected to some time in your life? On obviously the the church song was definitely something from your past, obviously, the way it was
Absolutely.
written. Some of the other songs, as I did listen to them, are they part of your life?
Yeah, man, absolutely. You know, as funny as it is, you know, I kind of, whenever I step back with Corona, like all that, and then a Dares run, just kind of like, all right, well, this is a good time for us to just like leave it, and if we want to pick it back up later on, then cool, and if not, it's all good. I mean, dude, to be 100% with you, I took like 3 or 4 months where I was just like, I probably didn't even touch a guitar really. So to answer your question, yes, on the writing, like these are songs that I had written with other friends that write down in Nashville that weren't in a Dares run. So when I branched off, I was like, I'm completely just, this is going to be stuff that we couldn't record, because that was one of the agreements in a Dares run, was that we wouldn't cut anything that Pat and I both didn't write on, or neither one of us wrote. But we never would cut anybody else's song, because for us, it's always, man, like if we want somebody to believe us and believe our music, like it's got to be from us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I guess at some point, at some point, and there's a lot of guys downtown like that. They're great writers. They're not great singers. They're not great entertainers, but they're phenomenal writers, and that's their job, and that's what's great. Like, there's a lot of great artists that will always cut songs, and that keeps them employed, and that's good for them. Like, that's awesome. But I think for me, it's like, yeah, if I ever wanted to keep going, and if I'd had several hits or whatever it was, you know, like at that point, would I explore looking at somebody else's song? Sure. But I can't stand the idea of, oh, here's a pretty boy or here's a pretty girl, and we're just going to find them some songs, and then we're going to put some money behind them, and then we're going to like throw them out there, and then we'll just go through tons of vocal training and entertainment training and tons of this, and then we're going to make him into an artist. So for me, it's like, hell no. Like, I'm going to put my own songs out, and this is where I'm at. And so, yeah, so all these songs are songs that I have either written by myself, or songs, most of them I've been co-write so far. I haven't put out any just that I've just written by myself. I used to do that, sit down, write by myself almost every day. And then I got to a point where I was like, it was nice to be around like-minded people, and I had to figure out who those people were, and I have trimmed my writing group down to just those people, because they know where I'm trying to take an idea when I can't quite get there. So having them there to help in the room is like awesome. So, but yes, I am a co-writer on every song that you hear. Dude, from Denim Days, Neon Nights, like, that's something that I experienced on the road. That song is just about like, listen, it doesn't matter where you are. It's just, there's just a work hard, play hard attitude. Like, that's the summary of the song. And it might look a little different in West Virginia versus Louisiana or California or whatever, like, but it's just moments that I experienced, and I was just like, man, like, cool things that stood out to me. It was like, you know what, we're all the same. Like, we're all like, get up and put in a hard days of work, and then go out and just put in a freaking crazy night of having fun or whatever. Like, it's the moments that stand out the most. And it was like, it's funny because we tied it to jeans, because like blue jeans, like, it's like that kind of like, we're all about the denim days, the hard work and blue collar 40 guys, you know. And
coal miners.
Same thing, man. It's coal miners, right? Same thing, man. Rolling right back in it, you know, same clothes going out in, you know, like I'm that guy, seriously. So, you know, it was cool to be able to write that one. Flying was about really just a relationship that I had like a long time ago. And then, you know, kind of where I thought it was going to end up being, you know, but I finished the song as if it would have went that way regardless. I mean, obviously I'm not going to say, you know, where it went bad or whatever. Like, sometimes things just end, you know, but it's like kind of a looking back thing. But yeah, like, when you're over it, man, like, that was a super tough breakup song, man. Like, and I had that idea from a long time ago. I had started writing it with this guy, and we actually couldn't get it finished. He's actually signed to a label and like on tour. He's been on the road with Morgan Wallen and Hardy and stuff. So I couldn't get back in touch with him.
It's right though. I mean, that song, that song, When You're Over It, that the whole song, it hit the nail on the head. You know, when you're over it, you're over it. Yeah.
You're over it. You don't do these things. And so it was kind of like one of those no-brainers songs, but like, I don't think people would ever really thought about I really wanted that song to take off too, because I wanted people to feel like this is stuff that I've done, and not just me. Like, I've had friends too that, like, there was pieces of their relationships that I remember things that they were doing, like, to, like, avoid the feelings, and I'm just like, man, like, it's little things like that you don't think about, but man, they just get amplified after a relationship's over. And that's always been my thing, man. I just want to write music that people can relate to, man. That's real. Like, I'm not trying to crap on these songs and stuff, but it's like, I get tired of hearing it, like, yeah, jump up in my headlights in the back of my truck and do your crazy dance or whatever. And I'm just like, what girl does that unless she's just plastered?
And you know what's kind of funny?
I've never been to a party that happened.
What's funny is Tyler Farr is a good example of that. The one song that blew him up, "Redneck Crazy." Who hasn't felt redneck crazy? In a situation like that.
So, funny story about Tyler. I was hanging out with him a couple weekends ago. He was at a bonfire that I was at, and we were just talking about music and stuff, and he actually brought up, like, the Davidson Brothers band and all that
stuff.
Is he
not so down to earth, though? That dude is just, like, chill.
Totally. He's such a cool dude, and he and I were, like, talking about stuff, and it was the same stuff. It was just like, man, we get so tired of some of this stuff, and then even today, he talked about how politics plays into everything, and I was just like, God, I'm so tired of it. Like, I can literally... And he, but man, we're talking about a guy that just literally just wants to put out music that people can relate to. And I'm sorry, man, but sad songs sell in country. That's what's made country the what it is. I mean, it's not all. There's obviously some good time songs too, but I mean, like I said, man, from that one to grew up in church, that's just some stories that I had. Like, man, as like if I go telling people, and that song initiated from a guy I was talking to at a bar one time after a show. He was just telling me, like, oh yeah, man, I used to go do this and this, and he was telling me how he used to sneak into these bars when he was younger, and he's like, man, but I always had to get back home. I'd be out till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with these bands. He said I knew I had to be back home by 6 so I could get up. And he's like, because I grew up in church, and I was just like, oh, I grew up in church too, man. Like, I still go, but Yeah. But for him, he was like reminiscing what that was about, and I stole that song title. I was like, just from that conversation, and I was like, oh man, like, this is totally like me, and even where I'm at now, man. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've strayed away from the big man upstairs, and man, absolutely give him all the credit in the world. To, like, I honestly think that's exactly why I'm right here right now talking to you, man. It's just because it's just a series of events that I can't explain. I never will be able to, and but it just like ended to.
What all brought you together?
He had to.
It brought all the pieces
had to
together.
Get me here.
Yeah,
100%. And it worked.
And everything that and that was kind of the piece of what I was kind of talking about beginning there was everything that makes it rough, everything that's hard to get through, and man, in the end, it's worth it. Look how much stuff. Look what you've learned. I mean, it's just.
Oh. Yeah.
What you've learned to do. What
on that.
Although
I probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
So, something that just come up on my mind here. You were talking earlier about the execs, like in Nashville, and you hear so much. Yeah. They get so. I mean, I don't know if you follow him at all, but Ryan Upchurch.
Yeah, so I was supposed to write with him. It's funny. He used to go to the gym that I went to, and we got introduced one night. Actually, so dumb, but I was showing my buddy that a video I'd put up had like kind of gone viral on TikTok, and I was like, man, this is crazy because I have a friend and she's like really blowing up on here, and she's telling me to get on it, and I was like, I'm not going to. And then I put up a video and it got like 50,000 views, and I was like, God, I wonder how much money it would cost me to get that on Facebook, and Ryan was in the same gym area working out, and he's like, dude, he's like, that's how people are blowing up right now. He's like, that stuff's crazy. And he jumped in on the conversation, and we got to talking, and then he's like, you do music? And I said, yeah. And I showed him at that point in time, we were still with the Dares Run, and right towards the end, and I showed him. He's like, dude, I'm gonna follow you. And so he did. He followed us from his page. And then I followed him back, and we talked, and he goes, dude, if you ever want to get together and write, he goes, nope, there's hardly any writers out here in Cheatham County. And I said, yeah, man, I know. And he's like, you live like 3 minutes from me. And I was like, cool, let's get together. And I texted him about, sure. He flaked out. I saw him back at the gym again, and then, dude, yeah, let's get it right. And he's trying to act like that would never even happen. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he flaked out again, and I was like, okay. So and then he texted me one day and was just like, yeah, let's just text right. And I was like, I don't know about you, man, but I can't really hear a song through text, but maybe you can. So I'll just let you write it. No worries. But, man, he's so busy, dude. I'm not here to say one way or another. I've never written with the guy, but I know he's always trying to, put something down. I'm really good friends with, one of the guys that DJs for him every now and then. And he said, man, they're just always grinding. But that's another guy, man. He's just used social media, and he's kind of stuck his middle finger towards the industry, and he has literally grown. Like, it's like a cult following, man. And it's amazing. He's got some great fans, and their shows sell out. I mean, he's doing very well for himself. He's got like a camo Lamborghini, so something's working.
I was just for the hell of it, I was checking to see what he goes for on Modicet here in town. $50,000 a show.
Yeah,
$50,000.
That's about right.
That is nuts. And it's cool.
Eminem out.
It's cool though. I mean, I love seeing people that are, that are not corporate driven.
Sure.
That are succeeding, and I don't mean to kind of go off on a tangent here on his stuff, but another kind of good example here was I'm sure, I don't know if you saw it or not here, but a few weeks ago, he'd bought a van for some homeless guy here in West Virginia. And
wow.
Him and his dog and this guy, I don't know if he was strung out or what. I don't know what his story was, but just like that, bought him a minivan, give him the keys to it, and I guess he does that kind of stuff all the time. And, it's things like that.
He does, man. He was always helping out. I saw a lot of stuff that he would do. Like, he didn't post a lot of it up to get a ton of attention. Like he always does his videos and his political videos and his raps and stuff. That's where he gets to that. But like, from my understanding, there was a lot of people who had believed in him that weren't doing very well, and he remembered them. And I give him a lot of credit for that. Because any artist that can kind of do that, and that was like us, man. Here, with us, when we were especially doing a Dares Run, like, we always heard the thing, no good deed goes unpunished, and, but our goal was always just to try and help out, throw back where we could. I mean, we teamed up with like Grant Supermarkets here in Princeton a couple times and did some shows at the Chuck Mathena Center, which is like one of the nicest venues in this state. And, I think over total between donations, ticket sales, and everything, we were able to raise like $25,000 between two shows for the Salvation Army, which, a lot of that was for like flood relief victims and like just people, man, like you used to have no idea, like food pantry needs are just insane. And man, if we can afford to do stuff like that, I mean, I can tell you there's a ton of artists from our level and up, and even like me solo right now, like, man, we love doing stuff like that. Anything that can actually help and give back to the community. I know Ryan's one of those guys too. But, I mean, you would be surprised, even like a donation-based ticket, or even a ticket that 100% of the proceeds go to something like that, how many people still won't support it? It's like, this is going back to you all, Yeah. So it's tough, man. You fight that battle too. But, like I said, my goal is, man, it's never been about the money, man. It's always been about, I just want to put out music that people can relate to and like sing along to, and like they really get.
Well, the money,
that's all
come.
It's ever been.
The money would come if it, That's the
more money, more problems, dude. My thing is just make a living. If I can make a living,
right, yeah,
man, and not have to work two jobs like that, that's where I'm at with it. So I could care less about anything else.
So you did a song with I remember you telling us that, or telling, I mean, I don't know if we were messaging back and forth or something or other, but you were talking about with Daughtry, y'all were doing some things with him. Is that, are you all still kind of doing some writing or anything with that? Or is that kind of
not with
fizzled?
Chris? Yeah, I mean, like, he's still in town. I tagged him in a post the other day, and he reshared it. I mean, there's obviously, I think Chris kind of thought, and we kind of thought that, like, hey, he really wanted to get his songs into the country world. And you know, the song that we cut with him, which was, you know, called Wild Heart, was a great song.
Yeah, I agree.
Really, really great song. But he, like, I think, you know, and he's felt, and I think he understood, you know, like, everything had ups and downs. We, at that point, thought, hey, you know, we were going to get taken into a label. Like, our manager worked all this out, and, like, our producer was behind us, and he worked for a label, and he had all the things he was going to pull. And then, you know, it's always a bunch of he said, she said, they're going to do it, and then they don't. And that's just reality, man. It's like we all think things are going to happen. That's why, dude, somebody tells me something now, I don't even get the least bit excited. I'm just like, oh, cool. If it happens, that's great. Because you learn, man, when you're green and in town, you're like, you get excited about everything. And I think, you know, Chris, you know, with that song, you know, and us, we were going to release it next, you know, and that was kind of our goal. But, man, we spent some money on a radio promo team, and, like, they did not deliver at all. And, you know, when you're independent and you don't have any backing, you know, support from that angle, or even label support, like, your luck of getting on any kind of radio is just slim to none. And like I said, you got to go viral, or XM Radio decides that
radio is almost non-existent.
That's if they're not taking.
Radio is almost non-existent.
Dude, it
anymore.
is, man.
You know, unless you're
Spotify
on XM or Spotify, you know. And you don't get shit off
XM or
of
Spotify is the best.
And you don't get anything off Spotify.
No.
You know, I saw one dude have like 7 million, maybe more than that. I forget how many streams it was, and he got like 96 cents out of it. You know, it's...
Oh, well, then he definitely got screwed. It actually pays a little bit better than that. If
maybe
you
it does
own
now.
your own publishing.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a publishing deal that like takes that's what people don't understand. There's so many people taking a piece of that pie. Versus if it's just me right now, like, I own all my own publishing, so nobody's getting any of that. So when I put out like a song like Ruin My Truck, or if I put out, you know, a song that kind of goes viral, like, you know, I'll get that streaming money. But like, here's an example. If you own all of your publishing and there's no other writer on it.
Yeah.
Like, supposedly around 120,000 streams, I think is what it is somewhere around $490, almost 500.
Wow.
So, like, that's if you are completely independent and nobody has any publishing, and there's like no more than 3 writers, and you're one of them. So, if that makes sense. Now, that's from the artist side. The writers get like a little bit less than that. So it's like a little bit different. So like my 2 co-writers, and then my writer portion would be less than that. That's just, man, and again, that's a rough number, so don't hold me to that. If somebody's on there as an artist, like, how are you getting that? Like, I don't know. That's just what I've been told. You know, but I mean, it's not what you think it would be. Like, you know, people are like, oh, 100,000 streams, that's got to be worth a lot. And it's like, nah. So if you did the math, that's basically 1 million streams. I mean, I would assume somewhere around like $5,000 at best.
So one more comment around Spotify here. Then I've got something else to talk about here. But I'm looking at some of your streams here on Spotify right now. The song we were just talking about, When You're Over It, 92,000 streams on that. You've got
hadn't paid itself off yet.
But you've got Ruin My Truck that's only been out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe.
Not even 2 weeks.
Not even 2 weeks.
2 weeks tomorrow.
67,000 streams on that.
Yep.
That's incredible, man. That's a
man.
That trend is. I mean,
dude,
have you done the math? I mean, it's. So
that song's gonna pay itself off before When You're Over It will. That's why I try to tell people, like, I know it's easy to stream, but you have no idea how much money it costs to make these songs and get them out. Like, if you really want to support the artist, go to iTunes and buy it. It's $1.29. You may not think it's a whole lot, but that $1.29 goes so far, and it actually counts towards the charts too. But again, man, I mean, any of my friends, they put out songs, I go to iTunes and I go buy it. It feeds right into my Apple Music, and then I still do Spotify too, because like Spotify to me is a great tool to get out and get on playlists and users playlists that other people listen to. But the thing that kills me about Spotify, it used to be a great opportunity for you to get on like these. You could submit to like these editorial playlists, and let's take "Ruin My Truck" for example. The song blew up on TikTok, and I didn't even have a link up to like share it, so I missed out on thousands. I mean, it got like almost 1 million views on this video, and I was like, people were like, "This song needs to be out right now," and I was like, "Crap!" Like, why did I just never thought this video was gonna go viral on Black Friday, and it did, because I figured everybody be out shopping or hungover or whatever it is, and like I just put up the video, just like clip. I uploaded the clip of the song and used it in the video, told my story, goes viral, and I'm like, God bless it. I had to make time, go to the studio 2 days later, pay extra for the guy, like, please, can we get this thing like knocked out? It was like 80% done. We had to polish it. Dude, I go back on, had a couple more videos, and was like, hey, look, like, here's the link. You can pre-save it, pre-order it. And still only gave them a week and a half. It still debuted number 19 on the iTunes charts, which was huge. Spotify, day one, I've never had a song get over 1,000 streams on the first day, ever. Any song that I've released. And I've submitted every one of them to an editorial playlist.
So how does
Spotify has denied me every time.
How does Amazon work as far? Do you not get as much?
I don't do Amazon. I don't know much about it.
Well, I don't mean they're streaming.
I
mean as far as selling your music.
Yeah, I think it works the same. So it would be the same as iTunes did. So basically, whatever portion that they take out of it, I want to think at $1.29 is probably like 26 cents comes off of that as fees and whatever else. And I'm sure it's probably going to be the same thing with iTunes.
That's what I usually use, only because MP3s I can do across any format. And that's just that I can put it in my cars and what have you. So
I'm with you, man.
That's good to hear that it does help you out about the same.
It does, man. Absolutely.
So Gary Turner, I don't know if he's still on here listening or not, but he mentioned on there when we were talking about the cost for Ryan Upchurch, we were saying $50,000. How do you think being in the business and you know how it works, how is this thing going to work then with COVID, and are prices going to go up? Prices going to stay the same, or prices going to go down for live music?
Man, that's a good question. I've actually kind of wondered that myself. I think that there might be. I'll put it to you this way: spending is up overall because ton of people working from home and bored and whatever else. Like, there's more time to go to stores. They're getting their work done quicker, and so then they're going in the stores and killing the rest of that time. Like, so I can't sit here and tell you there's going to be a price reduction. They all know that once this COVID is over, everybody's so freaking tired of being cooped up and not being able to go out and not be able to see live music for a long time. And if they are seeing it, it's in a drive-in setting and it just doesn't feel the same. I think there's going to be such a demand that if anything, prices are going to go up. I mean, it's law of supply and demand, man. That's what I honestly think. But again, market could get saturated because everybody's going to be trying to play, and it also depends on sponsors.
Something tells me there's going to be a lot of great new music. I mean, there's already been. I mean, there's on the rock scene. There's been bands that I never thought would have ever gotten back together.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So I think I think a lot of great music is going to come out of this quarantining thing, because people are, they're in their zone, they're, in their room.
Well, they have time to sit down and write, man. Like, just to sit down and like live life again. Like, you get so tunnel vision. I mean, that was one of the problems with the Dares Run. We were just so tunnel vision and trying to write a song that would be like this, for the radio. And like, that's when I knew, when I started feeling that way, I was like, oh no, like, whoa, what? No. And like, man, for me now, just whatever I feel like writing that day, that's whatever comes out of the right, and it's like, hey, this song, and it feels like it's kind of this vibe. Cool, let's write that. And, a lot of my friends have said like, man, this new stuff, now it's like, of course it's got the Adair's kind of feel to it, but it's kind of different, and like, we're digging it, and we're doing this, and it's like, yeah, it's because I'm actually like not having to write for a sound. I'm just writing what's real and something I felt because I've been in the zone, like you said. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yep, and you don't have to. I guess the other thing is you don't have to. I mean, so to speak, answer to anybody.
Nah, myself. It feels great.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, Todd, I think that's all I've got on my plate for questions. Is there what's in the future for Todd Cameron? Just continuing to. You got some more new music getting ready to pop out, or what's the? Yeah,
actually I do, man. So I've got about 20 songs right now that I would love to get to the studio. We were pitching one to Aldine, and it didn't make it. So he had already had all 19 of his, but I know for a fact he actually listened to it, and he like, really liked. Already had 19 songs to cut for this next record.
Actually, you broke up a little bit.
So I was kind of bummed about that. But
you broke up a little bit there. Who did you say?
Yeah,
was?
Can you? Jason Aldean. Can you?
Okay, yeah.
So like we had pitched one to him.
Yeah.
And he really liked the song. He actually listened to it, and actually, I think it was. Yeah. So we sent it to him and Tyler actually, and that's how I got to talk to Tyler because he listened to the songs and he liked them too. But really, man, I'm going to be writing with a couple of Jason's band members coming up. I think that's something that I'm working to. Another buddy of mine plays all of like Jason's guitars on his records. I write with him pretty frequently. So there's some new stuff coming out. I just kind of got to get it recorded, just finding time in the studio. And then really, man, I've been hit up about playing some shows. I had no desire to get back on stage at all. I'm going to be 100%. Like, man, I would just really fun just being a studio guy and putting out music just people can jam to. But I think my neighbor he plays guitar for a couple of pretty big names. And so with them being off right now, he's totally off for a while. A lot of these bigger acts are taking some more time off, man. They just kind of enjoying it because they once in a lifetime deal, right, to do that. Mm-hmm. And so he and I are going to get together and jam. So we might do some acoustic stuff here and there and maybe a full band show or two. I don't know, man. I'm just leaving it open. Whatever happens, right? If I feel led that way and the good Lord wants me to do it, then I'll do it. If He doesn't, then all good. I'm just gonna keep putting out songs that I just felt like people might want to hear.
Songwriters make a pretty good chunk of change too. So I know you're not looking for the money, but I know some people that Davidson. Brock Davidson, look how many songs he put out for several different artists, and then Bubba Smith here in Parkersburg, Mayberry. I mean, you don't people don't hear about those people, but they're doing all right. So
yeah, man, they're making a living. So
all right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and
absolutely.
And hopefully you had a good Christmas and you'll have a happy New Year,
buddy.
Yep, and prosperous New Year, and just stay safe. That's the main thing. Get your vaccine, and hopefully everybody gets out of this rut. So.
Yeah, hopefully, I hope so too. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, Craig.
No problem. We'll have to get on again sometime, just to kind of get an update on you, if you want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I'm down. Let me know.
Sure will. All right, Todd. Well, have a great evening and a happy New Year.
All right, buddy. You too. Take care.
Ready. All right, everybody. So there you had Todd Cameron. He's on all the different media outlets. So if you're interested in checking out some of his music, I played Ruin My Truck there at the beginning. You can check it out. It's available on iTunes. It's also available in Amazon. I purchased it as well. So if if you want to support him, that would be the best way of doing it. He's all the other songs are out there too with his band Adair's Run. I enjoyed listening to some of them as well. All right, everybody. So hope everybody has a happy New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas. Stay safe. I have also, I still have stickers here. If anybody's interested in supporting Robert's Report, you can send me your address. I'll be happy to send you a sticker. Put your car, your cooler, your wherever you want to put it. I don't know. Heck, get a tattoo of it. But we've got the beginning of the year. Big Rick will be on Robert's Report. That's the very first show we're going to have for the new year. And I think he's got some news to share with us. So I hope everybody can tune in for that. And other than that, everybody have a happy new year and prosperous new year. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out. Hey, I'm sorry, WWE, that I used your thing. I'll get it edited out. Peace out, everybody.